Good evening, everyone. This is Adam Dubbin with Graywolf Petruzzi, and Sue will be with us in just a moment here. We just want to get this live feed started and get everything, all the kinks straightened out. But what you may notice is we're out here at the Wekiva Springs State Forest, and it's pretty nice out here. We've got a campfire going, pretty crisp evening, not cold. We've got a full moon tonight with a partial eclipse and also a comet. So tonight we're going to do some water blessings. We're going to engage in some spirituality involving the water, and then we're going to talk. We're having an open discussion. So like we have been doing, we'll be keeping track of the comments as we go along. This broadcast may last a while. I'm set up here so that we've got power, and as long as I've got a 4G connection, we're going to keep this going as long as people want to talk and discuss and do what we're doing. So I'm going to turn this program over to my friends to my left here, Jim and Sue, while I take care of the technical details here. All right, so if you would please.
Hi guys. Oh, thanks for joining us. I hope you all got the message. We tried to give you enough warning this time. We'll, come on in. People are coming in, they're going to hang with us here, which is great. Maybe others will come in later.
Yeah. In fact, here, I've got a seat here you can sit at, and I've got another chair I can bring out. Let's go ahead and...
Yeah, the concept was fine.
This is a live broadcast right now on Facebook.
I just don't want to knock anything over.
I think if you go straight through here like this,
Okay.
the only thing you'll do is cast a shadow.
So we're going to start
Okay,
with
so I'm
our
doing
water
this.
blessing part of this. Thanks to Shelley and some of the others who lead the way in the water blessing part. Sue and I have done a lot of water blessings over the years, so it's nice now when we do them to be connected around the world. So hello to all of you, Shelley, Catherine, everybody who's doing those water blessings tonight, wherever you are. We're going to open with Sue doing the grandmother song, because we got multiple things going on tonight, folks, if you haven't noticed. We have a full moon, we have a comet, we have, what else?
Partial eclipse.
Partial eclipse, and of course we have the water. We're going to talk more about the springs here as we go along. But we are going to start with a song. I'm going to do a blessing to tag us in. We have water here. We could not go down to the springs because there's just no reception. But we were down there today, and Adam got off a little brief video to tell you this was coming. So why don't we, before I keep blabbing on, let's have Sue open up with a song.
Hi everybody. This is actually the Grandmother Moon song. This is a song I wrote about 3 years ago now. It's just I've always loved to sit, under a full moon and just contemplate her and talk to her and stuff. So this came about by just being with her for so often. Grandmother Moon shines brightly in the night, guiding all those who look upon her light. She beckons you to know of her secrets in the night, seeking those who wonder and nurture her pure light. With her faces she will guide the ocean's ebb and flows each day, and bring tides to their fullness and the creatures out to play. For her beauty is an honor and a joy for us each day, nurturing our spirit and hopes for another day. So when you look upon her beauty and see her guiding light, know from the start that she is your guide so bright. She asks us to be open and share our hopes and dreams, and sees when we need some comfort and nurturing. So be open to her shining as she beckons you each night. Let her love and beauty guide you and bring joy into your life. For her beauty is an honor as she shines on us so bright, sharing her love and her sacredness of night.
Great Spirit, Great Mystery, it is I, Jim Graywolf Petruzzi, with Sue and Adam, and our friends over here who showed up. Here tonight to bless the waters. Here tonight to renew our efforts to keeping the waters clean and pure and safe, not only for us, but for our kids and our kids' kids. We ask you to listen to us. We ask you to pay attention as we have fun tonight, but also as we're very serious tonight about what we're doing and why we're doing it. We ask you to hear our prayers, hear our blessings, hear our thoughts, hear us connected to people around the globe, water protectors everywhere, because that's what this is about. It's not about us. It's never been about us. Anyone who thinks this is about them are not really getting the connection of the circle. We do, and so we ask you to continue to give us whatever energy we need to do this work. Ancestors of the four directions. Ancestors of the East. The time of new beginnings, which this is in many ways. We ask you to be with us tonight. Ancestors of the South, of the heat, of the time of building and creation and procreation, we ask you to be with us tonight. Ancestors of the West, the fall of the medicine wheel, the time when we slow a little, we start to use our brain more and our body less. We ask you to be with us tonight. And ancestors of the North, that time we face our fears, we face the mirror, and we step into the new circle we're about to begin, whatever that might be. We ask you to be with us tonight. Those in the North, you include some of my teachers from the past. Umberto, my Mayan teacher from Belize, and Roberto, my Mayan teacher from Guatemala. Not my primary teacher, Two Bears, yet, but his energy is there. Carolyn, my big Blackfoot teacher, you're there. We invite you all in here tonight. Animal guides, we ask you to be with us tonight, because this is not just about we humans. If we destroy the water on our planet, if we destroy our planet's resources out of greed and the need for money of just a few, we all die, not just we humans. Four-leggeds, winged ones, finned ones, all go as one. All the other causes that are happening are wonderful, and we ask you to support them, ancestors and animal guides. But without the water, nothing else means anything. And so, as we do this tonight, we do it to respect and honor the spring water here, which is sacred water in Florida, just as we ask you to honor the water of our home state back in Colorado, and the wild and scenic river we live on, the Petruzzi River, and all those other lakes and streams and springs and oceans, all those other bodies of water, all those other blood sources of our Earth Mother. We ask you to honor them and honor us as we try to work with them, and help us in this battle that's shaping up. Help us in this war that's shaping up between those who would destroy everything and those who wish to protect everything. All these things we ask, not for ourselves, but to help to heal this sacred hoop wherever it is broken and bring all of us back together again. Oh, Takayase, all my relations.
Oh.
So I'm going to put Adam on in a second. And we are going to start. I've already had people asking, are we going to listen to questions again? Yes, absolutely. Are we going to do any more songs? I don't know. We'll ask Sue. Maybe she will. Or actually, I forgot. Adam has a guitar.
I have a guitar with me.
Guitar.
A guitar.
He's going to be a guitar man. And so, yeah, we'll be doing all those things, and we will certainly be taking your questions. Sometimes we won't look at your questions, so we can just keep the flow going.
So, I got a request to turn the volume up. Yeah, so we're going to just try to speak a little louder. I'll bring the camera a little closer, but the way the microphone is set up, we may have to turn up things a little bit on your end. So let me make a quick adjustment here before I take the talking stick.
We're trying to capture the fire to honor the water and us, so we'll try to speak up as well. I'm rarely accused of being too quiet, so if that's what I'm going to be, it's a good thing.
It is a good thing.
It's a balanced thing for me. And let us know.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, if you,
we're watching.
Yep,
If you can help us, since we're kind of running the show and we're in the show at the same time, we can certainly take a little bit of constructive criticism. So, what I'd like to talk about is where we are and what makes this place so special. So this is Wekiva Springs. And this is in Central Florida. It's really on the upper border, like the northern border of the Orlando metropolitan area. Once you get up into this area, it becomes pretty pristine rather quickly. You go south from here, the road that leads here actually becomes Hiawassee Road, which is a major road in West Orlando. Being from this area, grew up coming out here. Here, Rock Springs, Kelly Park, all of these rivers and streams and springs that are all interconnected. If you've been following us and listened to some of the things I've talked about before about the aquifer, this area in particular is one of the last areas of unconfined aquifer before you get into the Central Florida area. And when I talked about unconfined before, what I was saying is that there is no layer like clay or anything that's impermeable that keeps water from getting directly into the ground or from the water coming directly back out. So this is a very unique area for Central Florida because only a small part of that unconfined area actually enters our metropolitan area. One of the things I was telling Jim earlier about that I'm I'm very jealous of is students who go to UCF in this town are only 10-15 minutes away from here. So I've heard about, kids coming out here, if they have a 3-4 hour break in between classes, and just sort of getting a little R&R or coming out and studying and, here in nature. And, having gone to University of Florida, we had to go about 40 minutes to get to something like this. So it's really cool that this is here. When I was growing up, we'd come out here for Cub Scouts, Boy Scouts. YMCA had a program called Indian Guides, which was a father and son type of thing. And we spent a lot of time paddling down these rivers and camping out here. And it's always been a wonderful part of being a Central Floridian. And that's sort of that experience, the spirit that's in that is what I want to share most, because it's that spirit that ties me to the water and is what drives me to treasure it in a way, and what gives me what motivates me to do what I'm doing. Spending all the time that I'm doing, going out, talking to people, looking at things, recording, documenting them for you. This is what drives me. And I've talked before about how, even though Florida tends to be a red state, so to speak, even the conservatives here tend to be more on the environmental side. And that is that experience that I just described to you, because I experienced the exact same way that my peers did. And there's nothing black, white, red, yellow, or conservative, liberal. There are no divides that separate us from being able to enjoy these natural features, these gifts that we have inherited from the earth, and that we need to start thinking about being a little more protective of. Right? I mean, that's what we're out here for.
Yep.
So hopefully tonight we can take this atmosphere that we've got with, again, the moon. We've got these celestial objects happening now, moon and comet. It's creeping right now. I keep pointing that way because I can kind of see it creeping through the trees up there. Sadly, I don't have a camera that is good enough to capture that, but as it rises in the horizon, you'll probably see our arms also rise up. So we'll keep talking about that, and we'll talk about the waters, and of course we have our fire here as well. And then just below us we have the earth. So really everything seems to be represented here. And then we have air coming out of us as we speak to you. And so I feel like it's going to be a good evening. So let me really quick here. Linda, for video and audio is better for now. Okay, thank you, Linda. I appreciate that. Okay, so Linda, you're in the Ocala National Forest, so you're about a half an hour from us, Linda, so that's very cool. Let's see, unconfined, there we go. We have Lisa Girardi on Lake Michigan. Thank you, Lisa. You've got quite a body of water there that we're also very interested in protecting.
It's a pond, isn't it?
So you can hop across it, So blessings to all. Thank you everybody for watching. Okay, so I think we've got things sorted. So let's go ahead and roll on with this program. So I've told everybody about where we are. So Jim, tell me about the sacredness of the waters from your perspective.
I will, and then we got people already asking for more songs. So you'll probably need to get your guitar,
Okay.
Yeah.
and you'll probably need to sing more.
Uh-oh.
We've been asked if we're going to pull the big drum out tonight. No, I don't think we're going to do that tonight. We probably will do that again soon. Not quite sure where. But as Sue and I are moving around the state and absorbing all these water issues, we will definitely pull it out again. So I'm glad you asked. Sacredness of water. I've talked about this a lot in the past. To protect this water, first of all, we can't just do any one thing. That won't work. We've said that before on most of the live streams we've done. Yes, we need to get out and stand up and say, leave our water alone, keep our water safe. No, you can't shove your pipelines all over the place. Yes, we need to do that. We need to continue to write and let other people know. We have to keep increasing our numbers. It's growing dramatically, especially now that all these attacks are happening. But then we also have to deal with the spiritual energy of this. And of course, that's where I come in with this, personally, even more than the physical protection, although my degrees are in natural resources. My real degrees were with my teachers. So many of my teachers lived near amazing bodies of water. My teachers in Belize live right near the reefs and the atolls and the mangroves. And so everything they did was around water. Water is an important element for everything, but it's an incredibly important element in the spiritual realm. It's one of the main powers, if you will, on the planet. And many consider it the number one power, for the main reason I said, without water we disappear pretty quickly. Much quicker than we do without food. Sometimes I could do with less food, actually, but not with less water. And so as we talk to the water spiritually and we connect with our brothers and sisters around the world spiritually, we add that element of power to what we're doing. We add that strength, we add that resolve. Remember, as I've reported before, the first time Sue and I met with LaDonna Howard up in Standing Rock, one of the three things she asked for was prayers and continued prayers. And then the other elders, as we met with them, same thing. Prayers are always mentioned. Prayers always include an element of water when I do them. It's in pretty much everything we do. And living right on the water, as Sue and I do, right above it, it's really important. It's important we continue to respect it, to honor it, to work with it in the spiritual realm. And you don't have to be religious or even spiritual to understand that. Just like with nature, you have to understand all the elements. I can remember learning about wilderness, and people would say, well, how do you get people to value it? Well, they have to understand all its values, not just one or two. So with water, yeah, when these things come up, like a night like this, full moon blessings, days we do water blessings, water ceremony days, I really would promote just go out to some body of water near you. It doesn't have to be a huge spring like this or an ocean. It could be a little trickle that goes back through the back of your property. Go there, feel the water. You'll also replenish your own spirit. And that's really important right now. A lot of people running around with a lot of fear, a lot of angst, a lot of concern, a lot of confusion. Go sit by the water and just relax, and you will start to feel better.
Yeah, that's it's one of the things about water that kind of always sort of shocks me, that people are they're not in tune to it. Is 65% of our bodies contain water. That's more than half. It is the most prevalent molecule in our bodies, and yet we kind of have a very cavalier attitude towards it. We've grown up with water coming out of the taps, and basically free water. I think we've lost connection with the value of water. I mean, not just from a monetary standpoint, right, but also from the standpoint of what it really means to us. Human being cannot go any longer than 3 days without water. You will dehydrate long before you will starve. These simple facts should illustrate and demonstrate like the importance of it, and yet we still go about our days just not really aware. Until that day comes that you live in a Flint, Michigan, or one of these places that have been just completely catastrophic as far as our water issues. So what we're trying to do is basically just wake people up to what they really already know. Just perhaps it's just not in the forefront of their thoughts, because it's not really hard to think. You know what? Water is pretty important. It's in all my food. I mean, you wouldn't have food without clean water. You can't grow plants. You can't raise animals. You can't raise an animal on oil, right? You can't raise plants on oil. You sure as hell can't drink it. So, these things are really obvious, and yet it takes a lot of effort to bring them to the forefront. So, Jim also mentioned there something about not being religious or not being spiritual. Being guilty. Here, I'm not religious at all. And spiritual, I mean, my spirituality, I have a spirituality, but it's my own personal thing. And it's not something I'm very public about. But what he's talking about is the thing that I'm talking about, this inherent thing that we have within us, this inherent connection, that you don't have to believe in a force greater than yourself in order to understand. It doesn't require a leap of faith. It doesn't require anything it doesn't require any of the things that often make people reluctant to be religious or to be spiritual. So I think that was a really good point, and I just want to get I want to get through to everybody that this is a common thing, a common cause for all of us.
Okay, so we're getting requests for more songs.
Okay, I'm going to.
You want to be Guitar Man, or you want Sue to do another one while you?
We'll do another drum one, and I'm going to actually do something with the sound here and see if I can even improve it even more. All right, 1 second before you start.
Okay, I'm gonna take her walk out to the road to see the movie.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
But feel free to come back. Hey, Greg.
Got it?
All right, now we have the front-facing mic in. All right, everybody, let us know if the sound is any better, any worse. We're going to go ahead and go ahead with the song. Hey, Greg, it's great to see you, buddy.
I'm looking for Greg. Where the hell's Greg?
My buddy Greg over on here. Hey, Pam.
I hear the voice of my grandmother calling me. I hear the voice of my grandmother call. She says, wake up, children, wake up, listen, listen. May the rivers all run wild. May the mountains go unspoiled. May the air be clean. May the trees grow tall. May there be love for every mother and child. May there be love for every woman and man. May there be love for every being in the wild. I hear the voice of my grandmother calling me. I hear the voice of my grandmother call. She says, give birth, give life, mother, give birth, give life. Listen, listen. May the rivers all run wild. May the mountains go unspoiled. May the air be clean. May the trees grow tall. May there be love for every mother and Listen, 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 listen.
Ah, good one. And so I had a couple people ask me as Sue was singing, and I'm glad the sound's better. I could really hear that song went better. Great, glad. Well, Jody, how are you? Glad you're here. Where do these songs come from? Can they find these songs? So the two songs Sue has sung so far are songs she has written, and they want to know if they can sing those songs. You certainly can. You can sing our songs. You can use our words. We're not going to be the ones running around accusing you of stealing our songs or stealing our words or stealing our energy. That's why these things are here, so we can all share them. So I don't know what Adam's thoughts are. As he says,
Well, I mean, if you go platinum, you should probably at least donate to
Send a little money to our
I mean, you should probably contribute to the documentary. I'd say that's only fair.
That's right.
But otherwise, yes, public domain.
When we came back from Standing Rock with that wonderful song that Daphne Singing Tree gave us, Minnie Wachoni, Water is Life, we never asked if we could use it. I guess we did ask her, and she said, yeah, put it up wherever you want. That's what this is about now.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all supposed to be sharing our ways. So, yeah, please, go right ahead. Use what you want to use.
And I just want to take a moment to say hello to everybody. We've got a lot of greetings and salutations, and
In the interest of continuity here, I just want to send a group hug to everybody.
That's
thank you for being here.
So we don't go all night just saying hello to this one.
That's right, that's right. So, Sue, our friend Sue Almeter, just to reiterate, call in the 4 directions. East, direction of enlightenment. Facing east gives you the guidance to the answers. South, destiny of mankind. West, direction of gratitude. Face the west at the end of the day and thank the higher power for all in your life. North, look to the north for emotional, physical, and mental. And that's all it tells me in here. So I guess there's a limit to how long your comment can be. That's a buzzkill. I'm sorry about that. If you want to fill in the rest of what you were saying there, I'd be happy to finish that for you.
And that goes right back to sharing our ways and our stories and our customs and our music again. Because we're all taught a little bit differently. Yeah, I'm taught a little bit differently in the 4 directions. That's wonderful. The more we put them together, the more power and energy we have.
I agree.
So thanks, Sue. You're always right there with some really neat things, Sue.
So, did you want me to play a little ditty? I mean,
Yeah.
I don't really have anything in mind. I was just going to play some chords and
Okay, well,
being hearing impaired, my singing voice is not
What?
that great, but that's exactly right. Start off there.
Alright.
I haven't played in a while, so I'll have to wear myself in here.
Every time I'm trying to look at your comments now and getting the sound back, so.
He's going to want to turn the volume down on that. So I'll play another one. I'll play a little Nirvana. we can get back to yapping. So, do we want to actually bless the water? Is there a particular thing that we want to do?
We can create one.
Okay. I think that would be...
We have some water.
I can acquire water very quickly.
That's pretty quick. So yeah, I'm just looking at some of the comments as we go along here, and we'll do this. So Jody's saying, what can people do to help? What are the needs of the movement to make a difference? We're going to get into that in a little while. Thanks, Jody. She's always right there. Jody's a great player in Colorado, stepping up to help us, all of us, to fight fracking, which is our big issue. But that's also a water issue because you waste enormous amounts of water fracking, and then you dump all that stuff back into the water. At least in Colorado they do. So we will definitely get into that. Thanks, Jody. And I somehow shut this off. Here we go. And I see some people are drumming with Sue. That's great.
All right.
Please do. Go get your drums. And if you have flutes, she's going to go get a flute later too. So you can bring your drums, bring your flutes, bring whatever you want to bring.
Your rattles.
Your rattles. It doesn't matter. It's all good. Except now, kind of lost it again. I got it.
Remind them to share.
Grandmother's moon shining nicely on us
Yeah.
right now. It's beautiful tonight.
I turned the set off. Sorry, I got the volume totally off, folks. But there you have it. Okay, so we have a little bit of water here. I'm going to put this down now for a while, since I'm having trouble with it anyway.
I'll take over that part.
Okay. Water from the springs? Yeah, it's water from the springs. It's here, so it's from the springs. The springs are beautiful here. You look down in the water, and it's that water where you can see all the way to the bottom. We're not always blessed with that. And as I was standing there today, I was trying to get a signal to live feed to tell you about this, and not being very successful. And I'm looking down into that water, and I'm thinking, wow, what happens when the next pipeline breaks? And it starts pouring into this water too, because they're throwing pipelines all over under Florida here. And Florida, Adam can tell you more, he has in the past few days. It's a very, very fragile ecosystem that we're dealing with. So, different in some ways than Standing Rock, but it's the same issue. And so we welcome this water in here as we do this. Mini Wachana. Water is life.
Mini Wachoni, water is life. Mini Wachoni, water is life. Clean water is everyone's right. Clean water is everyone's right. Protecting the water with all of our might. Protecting the water with all of our might.
And so that is a little bit of Daphne Singing Trees song. And yes, you are more than welcome to use that too. Please do. It's a great little song to use before any meeting, any event. So those of you who are water protectors, I put that one in my medicine bag. Pull it out when you need it. It's great energy. I was just throwing a little bit of this water onto the fire so we can connect those two elements. Because to do this, we need to use that fire to burn down the old things we no longer need, and then allow us to plant and replenish that with the water, the good, clean water. And so I thank Creator, Wakantanka, Kumsla, Creator, God, Universe, whatever name you desire to use, God within and the God without, for these beautiful, clean waters we have here. I ask that these waters be purified once again. And I know that as we ask this, that just asking will not give us what we want, because even if they're purified again, those who do not pay attention to the waters, who do not care about the waters, will dirty them again. So we ask also for this water to give us the energy and the strength as we drink it, as we bathe in it, as we pour it over ourselves, to be able to go out there and fight for the water. Just as the water is there for us, we will be there for the water. That old saying, what we do to the earth, we do to ourselves. What we do to ourselves, we do to the earth, is absolutely true. What we do to water, we do to ourselves. We pollute the water, we pollute ourselves. And so I say to this water here that we are dedicating ourselves once again to be there for the water, just as we are for the Earth Mother and all that she is about. Oh, Patakwi, I say all my relations, because this is about all my relations. Thank you. Aho.
Aho. Sister Ruth asks us, how can we bless water at home?
Oh, very, very good. Sister Ruth, get some water. If you live near water in a natural state, go get some water and bottle it up there. If you live near a spring, wow, bottle some up and drink some of it. Really. But if not, just get some water. Collect rainwater. If you have to, take water out of a tap. Put some sage in it. Let it sit for a few days so it purifies. And then use that water for a blessing. Use it. There's no set way to do a blessing, sister. Whatever comes to you. You may want to wait for an event like a full moon. You may not. You may do it every morning as you wake up. Again, we live right on the river. Every day, pretty much, Sue walks down to that river and sits with her back to a tree right next to the river for half hour, 45 minutes, or until I clean up the breakfast dishes, whichever comes first. But use that water however you want. Sister, please remember to use water not only to bless, but use it on the inside. When you drink it, give thanks. You know, there's that old thing that you give thanks for things before you use them. That doesn't just mean, oh, thank you, Adam, for all you've done. That means thank you, water, for what you're about to do for me. And that actually purifies that water before you even drink it. Again, that's the spirit, that's the energy and power of spirit. So if others have other ways they want to do water blessings at home, please share them and we will speak them out. That's a great question. Thank you. Excellent question.
And it's just a matter of showing gratitude for everything that we have. The water we drink, the food we eat, the air that we breathe, every part of just being alive, being in this spirit, being in this body that we encompass, our spirit encompasses. Be thankful for that. Be grateful for just being alive in these times and being able to do what we are wanting to do to make change, to help this Earth Mother and clean her, keep her clean. Keep these waters pure and untainted from greed and everything else that's going on.
Yeah. I mean, clean water, something you can't imagine a world or a life without it. So I mean, I feel like it's pretty easy. Like I said earlier, I'm not a terribly spiritual person. I'm not very religious at all either. But it's really easy for me to feel spiritual about water. There's just a very deep, just inherent connection there. And
Heartfelt.
Yeah.
Heartfelt.
That's
Yes.
absolutely. The water is in your blood that's running through your heart. Water is running through every single pore in your body, every bit. Water is there. So, it's not hard to, to come up with a way to appreciate water. I know that even though I don't really pray so much, and I don't do some of the things that a lot of people will normally do, in regards to showing their gratitude towards something that is maybe not immediately tangible with someone who doesn't communicate back with you. Every time I was preparing to get into pool to play water polo, every time I get ready to get into water to do something else, to go wakeboarding or to go surfing, there's always this exhilaration, this moment before I actually make that decision to get into the water, that it's almost subconscious, but it's there, and it's something that I have recognized for a while. It's the moment before you go and you meld yourself with this element, with this elemental, and so if it's nothing more than just recognizing that feeling, it's just that feeling alone. Because it's not an element, right? I said you've got two elements.
No, it's not why I'm laughing.
Okay.
I know there's a lot of people out there laughing with me because Adam, that's spiritual.
It is spiritual.
What you're saying is so spiritual. That's all it is.
Exactly. It's the simplicity of it. Even though I don't consider myself spiritual, it's there, and so that's what we're trying to reveal here. Is that again? It's so fundamental. It's so inherent. It's one of those things that goes under the radar. You just don't realize it until it happens, and somebody says, "Hey, yeah, this is what this is what you're experiencing. That's exactly what it is." So I want to be able to get that across to people who are more like me, who just kind of maybe aren't aren't as in tune to that aspect of our lives, and so it's here for everybody. There's something for everyone in the Water is Life movement. This is not an exclusive movement. There is nothing there that precludes any person from loving water and wanting to save water. There's just nothing. If you don't even have to be a human being to love water and want to save water. Honestly, any organism that exists on this planet wants water, wants clean water. So that's that seems to be a tough hurdle for people to get over. Probably not for our audience right now, but. There are people that you will talk to and encounter that say, that's not really my thing. And you can tell them, well, it may not be your thing, but believe it or not, it's there for you. And you can use the event that just went on, with me kind of saying, yeah, I'm spiritual, but I'm not, and really I am.
Right.
You can use that little model next time that, you experience that and say, well, give it some thought. What is it that you just said? Or, how do you feel about clean water? Or, or what do you think about, future generations? Really, our generation right now is in peril. So, but, it's always good to open the dialogue in as many channels as you can. And we talk about that a lot, opening dialogue and the importance of opening dialogue.
Somebody sent me a personal message, too, talking about how they work with children, and they always take the children to the water first to teach about water before they teach about anything else in nature. Anyone you're working with, take them to the water, because if you sit near that water, first you can be calm and relaxed, and then you can just talk any of these things and a million other things about water. And then you can start talking about, hey, our water's at risk, and say why. Keep your messages positive. Someone else had said that to me yesterday. We all need to keep our messages positive. We do. We need to be aware of what's going on totally, in order to understand it and know how we are to face it and overcome it. But the messages need to be positive, and that's part of what tonight's about. We're including a little music, a little fun. We will get into next steps that Jody asked about, but we got to have some fun, and we got to keep things positive. If we let things get too dark, what we're doing is letting the other side win, and that's the last thing we want to do.
I had a chance to kayak here today on the river, and it's been a while since I've kayaked, and it was just I always loved it, and it was just amazing how beautiful that water was, and all the life, all the turtles and the birds, the different birds I saw. I didn't see any alligators. Someone had said that there was a 2-generation family of young ones beyond where most people go, and I went as far as I could, and then I had to turn around, otherwise it would have cost me an arm and a leg to kayak today. But it was just so refreshing to be connected. In a kayak, you're so close to the water too. You're right there. There was a time once I had a loon come up right next to the boat back in New Hampshire, and what an amazing experience to have that energy and that beauty of that bird so close, those red eyes just staring right at you. But it's just to have anything happened to these waters, I mean, this place is pretty much all water. Florida is water. Why they are doing this, I'm totally, it boggles my mind, because it would affect so much here, with any spills, anything, any leaks. It just doesn't matter. Just any little bit would just spoil what's so beautiful and so prevalent here. That water is just so fresh and clear.
Well, you know, there's another, if I can just finish one piece of what Sue said. Someone said to me last night, I hope you're getting a little bit of fun and relaxation as you do this. Because we've been gone from home for about 2.5 weeks. We're out here, we're doing something day and night pretty much. But we are trying to make room for a little bit of fun. So Sue went off today and kayaked. I stayed with the dogs, but we took a nice walk. Because it is important, as we do this, we are here to document what's going on with water protectors, what's going on in Florida in the camps, what's going on with Adam and his incredible efforts, what's going on with the oil industry and nature and blah, 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 and teach about the nature here. But to do that effectively, you've got to take some time and do exactly what Sue just said. And I know Adam does the same thing. His kayak's on top of his car over there. Hopefully he'll jump in that thing tomorrow.
There's no hope.
Yeah, okay.
It's inevitable.
Tomorrow he will do that.
I will.
Right.
It's really, really, really important. You've got to totally understand the nature of what we fight for. Not just fight. And in the past I've made that mistake. I would fight things, but I never got out into the element enough to understand it. And so as you all do this, I really suggest that you feel tired, you feel stressed, you feel like people are attacking you, take a break and go kayak or sit by the water or go take a bath, whatever.
That's right. Oh, that's fine. So, to touch upon what you just said, both of you, first of all, so one of the reasons I sent Jim and Sue out here was because I wanted them to enjoy the beauties of Florida. I wanted them to go have fun. And knowing them how, as well as I do, that I knew that this would be an area that they would be spiritually replenished, and also they would be just their bodies, just physically, would be replenished by the experience out here. I mean, having that clean water, clean air. It was a clear day today. You know, got in the low 70s. It was, I mean, it was, for lack of a better word, a perfect day.
Yeah.
No precipitation. You know, the animals were bustling around. It was, you know, it was one of those days that you say, it's great to be alive.
Yeah.
And so I'm really ecstatic that they got to experience that, because not every day is like that. But living here in Florida, one of the things that draws people here is that we do get those days more frequently than maybe other places do. And when it hits that perfect spot, and usually it's sometime between October and April that we get it, because between April and October the other way around, it's hotter than Hades here, right? So you know, it's not as pleasant. But this is one of those days that when growing up, I feel this type of nip, this weather where the heat's not there anymore, and it takes me back to simpler times, to better times. It's a very nostalgic feeling, and it is. But it's not just nostalgia. It's also, I feel energetic. I feel like I want to get things done. I don't want to hide in a house where it's, you know, because it's so hot. Well, I don't want to hide in a house because it's so cold.
Yeah.
Everything has come together, and it's a wonderful thing. And so they got to experience some fun today. Tomorrow there will be more fun, much more fun.
Yay.
And there'll be some kayaking. We may work out a way to get the dogs on a canoe, which is always fun. But you know, because the area we're in is not just Wekiva Springs State Park. It's Rock Springs Run. It's Kelly Park at Rock Springs, and there's several ways to get on the water here and rent canoes and things like that. What's that now?
Is it working okay?
Everything seems to be working.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I was getting some mixed messages here.
What were they saying in here?
It was pausing and not starting.
Okay, well that may happen. You know, we are in the woods, but
we're in the middle of nowhere.
but I'm not getting any weak signal issues.
Good.
Well, we've had a couple from United Kingdom
Yep.
chime in, and I really wanted to. First of all, Francis, Thank you. You've been an audience member for a while here, and I appreciate that.
Cheers.
There was one, somebody mentioned they were from Yorkshire
Ah.
earlier, and I missed saying something back because that's where I did my master's degree in environmental archaeology, was University of Bradford in West Yorkshire. So greetings. There's some beautiful waters in Yorkshire, actually.
Yes, there are.
The Yorkshire Dales,
Yep.
and there's just it's an incredible place. And then just to the northwest of there is the Lake District.
Yep.
There's a place in the Lake District called Windermere,
Yep.
which is the town.
The same as here.
The same town
Yep.
as the town I grew up in. And in fact, it was a sister city with the
okay.
Rotary clubs. And we were called Among the Lakes because, much like the Lake District Windermere,
Yeah.
they're inundated with lakes. And the Windermere that I showed them a couple days ago, we saw nothing but lakes as we drove through them. So it's great to connect with people everywhere abroad.
There was a time. So this is just coming to me too. The way things connect and circles and dots connect. Lake Windermere. There's a time I was 27 years old. I was on Lake Windermere with my wife at that time and my mother and father, and taking a hike. We're hiking around the lake. So I was going up and down. There's a lot of hills around that lake, and it's a big damn lake. At one point, we decided to head back. My parents already they were getting older. My dad wasn't feeling very well. And I took a walking stick I had, and I put it up in a tree there, and I thought, the day will come, I will be back here, and I will need this stick. That's 40 years ago. I wonder if that stick is still there. It's in the middle of nowhere.
That's a good. I mean, it depends. Was that stick just a raw stick?
It was originally raw, but it had been cleaned and polished.
And shellacked or anything?
No.
Okay. It's probably decayed and gone back to the earth.
Probably.
And that's a good thing, though.
Actually, it was coated. Come to think
Oh,
of
if it was
it.
coated.
But
then-
anyway,
Yeah.
that just came to me as you started talking about Lake Windermere, which I hadn't thought about in a long time.
Yeah. So these waters here, we're going to experience them. And also, it's not just the water here. Actually, interesting. So, as I was driving in, I saw that this is right around us. This is a burn area. And you can actually see that it was burned probably maybe 8-10 months ago. It was clearly within the past season. And but the scrub brush and the pines, the style of pines we have here, and it was really nice to see because it's pure Florida. And I've talked about this before. But having them here, though, it's one thing to see pictures or see videos or hear hearsay. It's another thing to actually immerse yourself and be in it and feel it, smell it. I mean, because it smells like Florida here. It doesn't smell like this anywhere else. The dirt. We have very sandy dirt. You don't really get the kind of dirt we have in a lot of places. It's pretty unique. The air. Even when it gets a little nippy, there's still humidity in there. It's a little different than.
Like right now.
Yeah, right now is a perfect example of that. And so. It's a great thing to experience because that way when you go and you talk to other people, and they're going to be talking to many, many other people, they'll be able to take that experience with them, and it become part of the tapestry. Our live experiences are like just basically a quilt, a large quilt, and we're constantly patching in to this quilt and enlarging it. Hopefully you're enlarging it. If you're living life correctly, you are constantly adding to the quilt and enlarging it. And hopefully, putting in things that are benefiting, metaphorically keep your body warm, insulate you, help provide for you, help move you forward. And I'm hoping that the patch that we put on to your experience, your quilts, is a memorable one.
Oh yeah, absolutely. When I was looking at this, the last time I was looking at the comments, two people asked again, so what can we do for the Water is Life movement? Well, part of what Sue and I are doing is exactly what Adam said. Our job is to get out here and connect the dots. Go between the different places. And we're not the only ones doing this.
Not by far.
Not by a huge. But for us, it's about all these places. Standing Rock, Florida, Texas, Flint, Michigan. All those places. To connect them as one. To make this one huge, big movement. And we're working hard to do that, and we do wherever we go. We start talking. If people want us to do a show, we'll do a show with our sacred bowls and our drums or whatever, or we'll do a teaching program, and then we'll talk about the water and the movement. So this thing is picking up quickly. There's a whole bunch of us involved now. You all are involved, or you wouldn't be sitting here now. Our main Facebook group, the Standing Rock Protectors,
through which we're broadcasting right now.
135,000 plus of us there. We are a huge community, and we're growing, and we will continue to grow. One thing now we're working on, so here's another next step for you all, and we'll give you other steps you can do, but this is the big one right now. We're working on a documentary. Adam's part of it, Sue and I, some people back in Colorado, Tasha, Jody, Tracy down in Denver, and a few others who I think will appear, and then some professional documentary folks who are going to work with us on this, although Adam has made documentaries before. We want to document the movement, and so we will be documenting Standing Rock, Flint, Texas, and Florida, possibly other places, the way this thing's moving so fast, we just don't know.
Yeah.
We'd like to do that this spring.
Well, the truth is, I mean, everywhere is threatened.
Everywhere is threatened.
Or another, so
we can't document all of them, or we're going to have a 3,500-hour documentary. So we will pick and choose some sites. That's a great point. But those sites will act as examples of all those sites. And boy, more are coming every day. If you check out our other pages, you will see where these are. The Water is Life Movement page, the Fossil Fuel Folly page with groups, and other people's groups. Check them out. You'll see all the states and countries now that are stepping up for this. So to get this documentary done, we need to fund it. We are the media. No one else has spoken up except all of us and all of those you see online. We are the change. No one else is going to change this. Our political system sure as heck is not. And I'm not talking Republican or Democrat. Neither one is going to do anything. They haven't. How long are we going to give them? Until we're all dead? So we are the change. We also have to be the funders. We've put up funding requests. We would like all of you to tell your friends about it. Ask your friends to put something in. Each of you to put something in. Everybody can contribute something. I don't care if it's $2. Try to put $2 a month. If we all put something, and Sue and I do every month, in addition to trying to fund ourselves when we're out here, if we all put something in, we'll have enough money not only get this documentary done, but to get done what Adam and I talked about the other night, to have a, what will we call it, emergency fund for people, for groups who need it? Or?
Yeah, it was sort of a, I didn't think emergency was the word we used, but it was something, a contingency fund.
Contingency fund. There's groups out there, and one person got a person from Standing Rock, who we knew from up there, and who's been in touch, got hold of us right before the show with some requests for some camps here in Florida, and someone else got hold of me for requests from camps in Texas earlier today. If we get extra money, and we can if we do this together, we really would like to be able to help when there is an issue. When we're facing something like, can we say something about what's going on here today?
I'm sorry, I was trying to track something down.
I'm going to say something.
I was trying to find the link so they can. So there's some people who already want to donate. So
okay, good. Please do. There's the camps here are having some rough times at this moment. Camps on the north end. Sue and I were up there and spent some days with those wonderful people there. Our friend Chester Roaming Wolf hosted us there. But they're having trouble staying open. So we tried to help them with a little bit of funding. Here in the middle of the state, one of the camps is now going to be only open sporadically. And this is not just Florida. This is happening in other places. There's some relatives, I understand, from the Standing Rock groups who are showing up and are going to need places. Other people are showing up who need some training and education in this. And so if we had extra money, I'd love to be able to have them come to us, and we as a community, we as the Standing Rock Protectors virtual support group, be able to say, okay, we can help you with that. And so that's some of what we want to do now, and some of what we are absolutely asking each of you to help us with. We cannot do it alone. I wish I was independently wealthy, or any one of us was. We're not. In the past, I had more means than I do now, but it doesn't stop me from giving what if I give $50 or $100 now, it's like when I used to give $5,000. That's the change in what's happened to me over the years. And I'm great with that. give what you can. If it's $2, that's fine. You're putting your heart, your spirit, and your soul into this thing too. This documentary will wake up a whole lot more people than we ever can just doing social media. So that's part of what I think Jody was asking me to talk about. We're talking about it. Adam will put up a link. I hope. I don't know how to do those things.
Well, yeah, I'm working on that right here. It's not the easiest thing on the iPad.
It's definitely in our group page, and it's on our personal pages, and it's in a lot of other places. And tell your friends, because one thing we want to do at the beginning of this documentary is thank all of you. This will be our documentary, not we three sitting here, or we 7 or 8 who do it, all of us. This is coming from all of us. This will come from the community to the larger community. And that's absolutely the way we hope to do this. And that's the way we intend to do this, because we don't accept failure in this fight. This water fight, we have to win. We don't have a choice.
There is no failure. I mean,
No.
failure is losing.
Failure's death.
And we can't.
Yeah, and we're not going to do that.
All right, give me a second here, and I'm going to paste
Okay.
what I'm going to do is, if I can, I'm going to paste the link actually in the
in the stream.
in the title. So when you
cool.
so
Okay.
just if you all you have to do is just look at the video,
So
and it's right there at the top.
very cool.
All right, so yep, there it is. So
There
it's a
it is.
GoFundMe.com 2W9Y7PSK. I don't expect you to remember that, but just so you see it up at the top.
That's good. And for those, we've had questions before. We run this through our nonprofit, which is Sanctuaries of the Earth Mother. That's an educational nonprofit Sue and I have been a part of for 7 or 8 years now. So we run through the nonprofit, so we don't have a problem, and so everything gets allocated the way it's meant to, and everything can be shown where it comes and where it goes. For those who don't use GoFundMe because they don't have the proper credit cards or means, you can use PayPal as well.
Somebody just asked that in there actually, so
okay.
good. I'm glad that you're.
Good. So for that one, you would just go to our website, www.sotem.org. Hit a donate button and put it in there. Just put a little note if you want that it's for Water is Life movement. So
There was a question that hold on, sister. Hold on. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Everything just got moved here.
what we need really.
Somebody was asking what they meant by our page, the main page, and we're talking about the Standing Rock.
Standing Rock Protectors / Pipeline Protesters. That's the main group. That's the 135,000
On Facebook.
on Facebook people.
Correct.
But spread it everywhere. We are not exclusive, folks. And I'm talking to all of you who are part of that group. We're all one, so spread it to all the other groups. All the groups are really one group.
That's cool. And actually, that's funny you say that, because we have a. It's hilarious. Ah.
There you go. Ha 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 ha.
I'm stitches over here. No, but we have a Terry Chowinski here who says, if this is about the Dakota pipeline, I'm totally with you guys. However, I'm unable to work right now, and I'm fighting with Social Security, so I wish I could help you. I wish I was out there with you. I bet it's a lot of fun. Okay, so I kind of did that really quickly. You can read in the comments, but we'll address this first thing. If this is about the Dakota pipeline, well, it's not about the Dakota pipeline. It's about another pipeline, very similar to it, owned by, for all intents and purposes, the same people, except for in North Dakota, it is happening here in Florida. So really, it's the pipeline to the electric boogaloo, right? This is just the sequel to what we saw.
And it is about the Dakota pipeline.
Yeah,
It is. And it's about the Trans-Pecos pipeline in Texas.
Yeah.
And it's about the pipeline that our Native American relatives in New Jersey and Pennsylvania are just starting to think. It's
Iowa.
really about all of them.
Utah.
Yeah.
All these places.
They are all one. And many are owned by the same company. Adam's spot on. It is the same company that owns this as owns the one in North Dakota. Same identical company, same identical approach, destruction, and yeah.
And then the second part of her comment though was that she's unable
Yeah.
to physically or monetarily contribute. So we've been talking about this a bit, right, Jim? Why don't
Yeah.
you start with that? And
we
I'll
have.
add to it.
And this is for each person to work out in their own spirit. For me, I say anybody and everybody can donate something. I got really, really ill about 10 years ago. And my wife at that time got really, really ill. She had cancer. It took everything we had and more, and it piled up all kinds of debt and affected my health in a huge way, because I was also ill. I ended up on disability. Now Sue and I are on Social Security. Everything else we were trying to do for money, we left in order to do this work, and yet we donate every month. And I'm not pointing fingers, I'm not judging, I'm just telling each of you, go into your heart, go into your spirit. If you can't afford $1 or $2 a month, then don't do it. But I can't believe there's not anybody out there who can't afford $1 a month. 135,000 people, if we all put a little bit of money in, just imagine how it mounts up.
$2 a person?
$2 a person, yeah, it's $270,000. We'd have such a huge impact on all the pipeline folks. It would be amazing. It's just, and we hear this from a lot of people. I get it. We're worried. Okay, how do we pay them? We're wondering how we're going to be able to get home this time before we go out to before we head to Flint, Michigan, because we're almost out of funds. So I get it. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not knocking it. Not at all. I'm just saying this is the time. If not now, when? It'll be too late. And so as you make your calls, as you go out and attend a rally, as you go to an event, as you do all these other things, throw a couple dollars into the movement as well.
What better reason than this? What better time than
Yep.
now, right?
Yep, absolutely. Yep. And so I'm glad we had a chance to do this one tonight. I don't want to keep doing this one. I will if we have to, because it's critical, and we won't stop in what we're trying to do. It's not about us, and I know the trolls will be attacking again. They'll be attacking us in the group and the group itself and blah, blah, blah. We ignore all those because this has nothing to do with us. If this was about me, I wouldn't be able to ask. I've always been that way. I've done nonprofit things for 35 years. This is about Water is Life, the movement. So it is about us collectively. But for me, it's more about my grandkids. I want to make sure that they're alive after I die.
Terry chimed back in. She said, "I'm very sorry I got the pipeline wrong." Don't be sorry.
No.
It's not that you got the pipeline wrong. I was just referring to here in Florida.
Yep.
And Jim corrected me by expanding it to the rest of the United States. And really, that wasn't even as expansive as it should have been, because Australia has the same problem.
That's right.
Yeah,
All over the world. So please don't feel any sort of wrongness from that. She says she can and will send a couple dollars because Florida is a Maine state that has great history of American Indians. So so the Native American story here, I'll take a minute to talk a little bit about that and why maybe things are a little different than what we've seen up at Standing Rock. So if you remember your history books, you remember the term the Trail of Tears. And so the Trail of Tears began here in Florida and culminated in Oklahoma. And Florida actually has a terrible, terrible history when it comes to the treatment of its natives. And interestingly enough, conversely, the natives who have persisted here are some of the toughest, roughest, and baddest, as far as badass natives that you get, because they have not only dealt with really difficult terrain and difficult environment, but also difficult government and difficult colonialism. So this is a really, really interesting state when it comes to our Native Americans. But because of that callousness that they have experienced such a tough time here, that there are some issues with within themselves and within the state. The government did what we call ethnogenesis with the Native Americans here, and what they basically did was they took the remnants of those who didn't go on the Trail of Tears and sort of organized them themselves and said, okay, you're going to be Miccosukee and you're going to be Seminole, and just sort of lumped everybody together and said that this is the way it's going to be, without any regard to their tradition, any regard to their tribal boundaries. This is consistent with what we see in other places, but Florida was kind of more gung-ho, and so they've mostly retreated to the Everglades and to the undesirable parts of the state. And most people know the Native Americans here for their casinos, which is not not unordinary either. But we have a very, very checkered history here, and with this Water is Life movement, we have an opportunity to sort of heal some of those wounds. We have an opportunity to make up for the lost time and to help bring closure and bring everybody back together. Get rid of these false boundaries that have been drawn among us. And when I say us, it's because it's not just the red, it's the white, it's the yellow, it's the black. We have all had these boundaries that have been placed for us, between us, that do not need to be there, and really, I don't want them there anymore. We don't want them there anymore, and many of you who are watching also do not want them there anymore. Which kind of leads me to just a quick side note, is that I hope that everybody out there realizes that the Water is Life movement is not just a singular focus. This is not a monolithic thing that we're dealing with. If you're out there and you support clean water, then you should also support women's rights. You should also support anything that fights against xenophobia. You should be supporting all of these things, these socially progressive things, these environmentally progressive things. These all hold hands with each other. It's the same attitude. It's the same thing that drives it, and that is the commonality of our human experience, and the desire to continue what we're doing and being human without destroying the planet. And we can destroy the planet by destroying ourselves as well. It's more than just the water and the air. There's a lot of toxicity when it comes to hating each other. That is just as bad as drinking dirty water. So I think it's important that we mention that, and that everybody takes a moment to think about, So tomorrow, for instance, there's going to be a bunch of pro-women movement. There's going to be one here in Orlando. There's going to be one in every city here in Florida, at least. And I wanted to go out to it, but I'm going to be here, and we're going to be doing some great things here. But what I want to get across is that if you feel like you can't do anything, you feel like you're paralyzed, that you're not able to make a difference with Water is Life, but you're able to go to one of those demonstrations or support one of those movements, then you may not be directly doing exactly the Water is Life thing, but you're still doing the right thing. And so by doing the right thing, you're going along the right path. And I want to encourage you to take any and every opportunity you can to help your fellow brother and sister, however it may be, by giving them clean water, giving them clean earth, clean air, giving them freedom, giving them the opportunities that you have. All of these things hold hands together.
Be part of tomorrow, not part of yesterday. Yesterday is done. We need to leave it behind. And that's in the prophecies of all the people I've ever worked with. So be part of tomorrow. That's what Adam's saying. Clean water is part of tomorrow. Equal rights is part of tomorrow. Some of the things that they're now attacking and trying to take away from us, starting with clean water, because without it we don't live, like we said, but all these other things as well. Yeah, just be part of that. You have anything, Sue?
Yeah, and just all of us need to just really wake up and see what's really happening around us and do whatever we can to protect this earth. I mean, it's in our own rights, because we're being threatened. All our liberties are being taken away from us slowly but surely, and
not so slow.
Yeah, actually not so slow. So just do whatever you can to get out there and just share your opinion, share your voice, and pass the word around, because that's all it takes. And the more of us that get out there and attend these rallies and attend these functions and do what we can to protect what we know we have to protect, for our own lives, and definitely for our grandchildren and their future, because without protecting the water, we're just not going to have a future, and the earth will go on. This earth will keep doing what she does, but we as humans will not be here if we keep messing with doing what we're doing right now to the earth, defiling it, and just taking away all the energy from the ground, because that's hers. That's hers to use as she feels necessary, and I think we keep messing with her like we are doing. She's fighting back in many ways, and the climate change, everything that's happening right now. She's tornadoes that are unheard of in certain months are happening. You know, the Northeast is getting some more snow. Hi, Jason. Family. They're getting another nor'easter, I guess, this weekend, so they have a lot of snow there. But it's just everything's kind of turning upside down, and we all can make a difference. So please do your part, whatever you can do.
I wonder if we want to take a pause for a minute. And you feel like playing the flute?
Yeah.
If Sue plays the flute, why doesn't everyone just take a moment as she plays the flute? We do this in a lot of our programs. Stop thinking. Go into your heart. Just relax for a minute. Just let all of these energies that we're talking about here flow through you. Just see what you feel. And then we'll come back when she's done.
Close your eyes. Just connect. So just continue to feel your heart for a moment. Flute music from the Andes. What?
I don't know.
Jeez.
Flutes and drums, stringed instruments. They're from around the world. They've been used since the beginning of time. Drums were the first instruments. And so we bring in that energy, that ancient, old energy. The energy that connects us directly with the earth. Nobody, no one group, no one culture, no one planet, no one country, owns flutes or drums or stringed instruments. They've been around since the beginning. They will be around. And some of you are playing your flutes or shaking your rattles or whatever you wish. And keep doing it as we go on here. Stay as long as you wish. Come and go if you wish. Like Adam said, we'll go as long as you want us to go. When you unplug us, we'll turn off the lights and go to bed. I think we lost Adam. He may have unplugged his lights and gone to... Oh, no.
No, he's here.
Thank goodness Adam knows all this technical stuff.
Yeah,
No, we're good.
We're good.
I'm thinking back to when we did that last program. We were in Colorado and Adam was here. And we did the one where we had people from multiple states call in. And yes, we will do more of that. I keep getting questions. But our friend Tracy from Denver came up to facilitate that. And again, use your skills. Use what you have to the best ability you can. don't worry about it being not enough or too much or anything else. I don't sing, I don't dance, I'm not good at any of those things, but I can speak and I can write, so I use those. Each one of you, use your skills. I know some of you who do. Some of you have been, we've quoted your words tonight. Yeah, use those skills as part of this fight.
Absolutely. I guess so. I was talking earlier about my lack of spirituality, but
we
so,
got him on that, didn't we, guys?
You did, and actually, I want to use this discussion to kind of further this, because where we were at before, I basically said, well, I'm not really spiritual, and I talked about spiritual things, right? So another one of those things that I also subscribe to is music. And so music's very important to me. If you haven't heard me talk about it before, I have a significant hearing loss. And so music to me is maybe a little different to other people, because it's less of a listening experience for me and more of a feeling experience in a lot of ways. And so music to me is music's probably the most spiritual thing that I have in my life, next to the clean water. But when it comes to music, being involved, whether you're creating it or you're involved in it just by being an audience to it, it's a connection. You connect with the artist, you connect with the performer, but you connect with the people around you as well. The people that common vibe. That some of you know, if you've been to a big concert, if you've been to a big music festival, you've seen this thing where everybody joins in a collective consciousness. Or it can be something as small as a small jazz club, where you've got a three-piece bebop, going on, and just people are, doing that thing. But everybody's still in that collective consciousness. And so what Jim was talking about with this music they're playing, you could be on your side playing music, or you can just be listening with your eyes closed like he told you to, and we're all transported to that same place. It's not a physical place, it's a spiritual place, it's an ethereal place. But nonetheless, it is a place. It's a place that we all can share at the same time. And so that's one of the beauties of music, and one of the reasons why I love to see it involved in things like what we're doing, is that it is a way to sort of, it's a form of teleportation, in a metaphorical sense, but it really is. It brings everybody to a central spot. And it's something that's really important to what we're doing. So we talk about prayer and we talk about spirituality, and a lot of people will say, well, what does prayer do? It doesn't do anything. Well, if you're talking about physically going out and actually, stopping a pipeline, you may have an argument. But when we're talking about bringing people together to stop the pipeline,
yes,
that's what the prayer does. The prayer brings us all to the circle. It brings us all to the campfire where we sit around and we all become one. So, and because of that, it doesn't matter how you pray. You can pray out loud, you can pray to yourself, you can do the rosaries, you can say the Shema if you're Jewish. If you're Muslim, you can do the things. If you're Hindu, if you're Sikh, if you're Buddhist, you have all these ways available to you to channel into that.
Yeah, prayer is an energy. I mean, it doesn't matter what form it is. It's an energy that travels, and it's a cumulative energy too. So when you're praying for anything, for victims of a tornado or what's happening at Standing Rock, that energy is going up there, and it's positive, love, heartfelt energy that's being shared with the cosmos. I mean, it's just it's light, is above darkness. I mean, light. When you're in the light, when you're in the positive, when you're praying, when you're sending your energy in a good way, you're in the light, and that overpowers any dark energy, which tries to take us down. So prayer is just a way of feeling and sharing your intent to help others, and it's very powerful when used.
Yeah, that's, you guys are bringing in two really neat parts. Music and prayer, as Adam is listing them. And that Sue's commenting on, they're both so powerful and they're so closely connected. I'm a little different than most. I've spent several decades, God, I hate to admit that, traveling around learning from a lot of different cultures. And so I've learned many different ways to pray. I've learned from my Lakota family, I've learned from my Mayan family, I've learned from my Aboriginal friends, I've learned from my Celtic friends. Likewise with music, which I'm always embarrassed to do because I stink, but I shouldn't be. And I can remember my first time really working with drums. I was in the jungle in Belize, and my Mayan family are sitting around. They weren't my family yet; they hadn't adopted me. They wanted me to drum with them, and I just was trying to think of every excuse in the world. And they sat me down and talked to me, and then I started drumming. And wow, I mean, it was like Adam was saying, I was taken somewhere else. I was in such an amazing place. And ever since then, I've loved to learn the drums of all the different cultures I've worked with. You know, use those instruments when you pray. There's nothing to stop you combining them, because music is absolutely spiritual, as Adam said. It's very, very spiritual. Drums are the heartbeat of the Earth Mother. Quite literally, they connect you to the Earth Mother directly. So, yeah, I'm really glad you brought those pieces up, because they're also part of art, and art is critical to this whole thing too.
Well, art's just a representation of humanity in a physical form.
Yeah.
So art is crucial to everything. And so with that being said, it's certainly important to what we're doing. I want to answer a question here, because I feel like what we're discussing here helps one to approach somebody like me and be able to, I don't mind being the guinea pig here.
Okay.
So Sister Ruth, again, asked, what makes you think you are not spiritual? So now I have mentioned before that I know that deep down inside there's a spirituality, but there's a resistance to it. And so the answer to your question is because I have spent a lot of my life focusing on objective fact and science and the things that brought me to where I am now. And I have no regrets for that. I don't feel badly for that. But because of that, I've had to abandon some metaphysical, some of the things that I may have wanted to, chase and understand or get more involved with metaphysically, only because it was not something that I could see, touch, taste. It wasn't objective in my mind. But as I'm finding out, in this this documentary and what we're doing, but also kind of looking back at the way I have come through this path to where I am, it's something that I just sort of abandoned for a while out of just simply because it was the easier thing to do and it made the direction I was heading in more seamless. But you can only go that long without having a connection with, really, spirituality is a connection with who you are. And then after who you are, then it connects with who everybody else is. And so that first circle in your concentric circle is the most important. And so I had just not focused on that. So I didn't think I was spiritual, only because I had ignored that aspect of life. And it was ignoring it out of convenience. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it or lie about it. It was purely a convenience type thing. So when talking to people who, proclaim to not be spiritual, who are not religious or have no immediate ties to the metaphysical, the ethereal, the greater powers, you can talk to them and say, well, maybe there are some experiences though that you've had that are spiritual. You just didn't, you weren't seeing the forest for the trees. And so I'm hoping that maybe me talking about this tonight will give you some ideas on how to open up people to the idea. Not say you need to worship God or you need to this or that, but you need to listen to yourself and listen to the deep part of yourself when it speaks. And that inner voice is what will lead you to your spirituality, whatever form it may be.
And to answer first of all, I really like you, Sister Ruth. You're right on. Keep it up. But to answer just a little fun question, I guess it's I keep losing this. Francis Harris. Yes, I'm having leg problems, if you've noticed. My knees are killing me tonight. I have bad knees because when I was a young man, I did those goofy things young men do, like football and wrestling. So I'm not sure why you asked, but yeah, if I'm moving around, it's because we did a lot of walking today and my knees are hurting. Personal side note, she asked.
She asked. I saw it too. I wasn't sure if you were going to answer it, but you know, it's certainly you know, we all deal with our individual ailments. I mean, his legs hurt. I have bad ears. You know, but we trudge on. You know, we do what we can with what we've got. And you know, for those of you out there who are disabled on a fixed income, or just have life it takes up too much, just know that we all have our trammels, we all have our hurdles, we all have the things that hinder us in life. What defines us is how we get past those hurdles and how we address those. So it's don't be discouraged if you can't give money or you can't get out and do things. Again, we always talk about the power of dialogue, being able to talk to people. There are always things that you can do that you can do to contribute to what is going on here. So let's see. I want to check to make sure we haven't missed anything here. So Sue Almeida tells us that when she plays the flute, it puts her into a deep meditative state. I can tell you, as a musician, I have a drummer here in town, and we every so often will grab a guitarist who knows what he's doing, and we get into some jam sessions that are completely. I'm going to another level. I'm not in my human body anymore. Where I'm just closing my eyes and I'm just playing, and my main instrument is bass, fretless 4-string, 5-string as well. But when I get on to my thing, it is I just let go of myself, and it takes me. You're no longer in control. It's being part of that flow, and it's the flow that you're sharing with those fellow people who are also playing music with you. But it's also that underground current. We all have sort of an aquifer under us, an underlying source of life, and so every so often you can tap into that.
That's all that water vibrating in their bodies.
It is. And when you tap into that, it's just very, very special.
When we do our drum circles, the hoop of many colors is just a 3-foot native drum, and it's a spiritual, it's a healing drum. And when I have a chance to step away and let others drum, and I can play the flute or I can play any other instrument, I'm just like in my glory, because you learn to meld with all the different sounds, and it's just so easy to connect and just enjoy the connection with everyone and all the instruments and all the sounds. They just all meld together, and it's amazing how powerful, as the time goes, when we have our drum circles, how the drum actually changes and adapts and grows through all the energy of everybody that's playing, with everybody that's connecting with the big drum. So it's just a beautiful, beautiful time.
When we do our drum circles in Colorado, when the weather's nice, we do them right on the banks of the river, because we combine those energies, and those are truly. I mean, if you want to value the water, that's a great thing to do. So if you see drum circles in your area, or if you're in Colorado, call us. Come on out. But when we do these, we have all the colors represented. We're red, white, black, and yellow right there. We have some from each culture. And we connect that way, and we understand and feel the water. My primary teacher was Two Bears, and he used to say, I hope I can remember this now, you can't value something if you don't understand it, and you can't understand it if you don't experience it. And so that's really true with water. How do you value it if you don't understand what it is? How can you understand what it is if you don't experience it? So, I don't care if you go outside when it's raining, stand in the rain. You'll be experiencing the water.
Yes, the energy of the life all around us, all the elements, just experiencing and just allowing yourself to connect with that energy. It's just amazing.
Yeah, it is, and it's again we've taken our drums and other instruments around the world to do things, and mixing those up is just as good as mixing up when we do things and we have all different people there, native people, white people, black people, yellow people. When you mix up the drums, I remember one great drum circle we did in Great Britain. We had our drums from different places in the world, and then there were djembes from Africa circling us. We had, 150 drums there. What an evening. No one there wanted to attend. We went on for hours. And it wasn't because we did anything special. It was just because we all shared our energies. Talking more about drum energy.
Well, I mean, you know, coming from the scientific world, I mean, there is a lot of energy in there. And interestingly, so one of my master's degree was communication sciences and disorders, specifically audiology. And there are frequencies and tones and rhythms that the brain will habituate on, that will latch onto. And there are things that can be very positive from the right sounds, and it can be drums, it can be stringed instruments, it can also be the sound of a babbling brook.
Yep.
It can also be, you know, the sound of wind flowing through the leaves of trees.
Crackling fire.
Crackling fire is a great one too. So the healing sounds thing, I mean, even though it's for some people it may sound like hooey, as a scientific person I strongly believe in it, and there is actually a lot of scientific fact that backs it up. So it's, you know, it's part of, when we talk about getting out, people say they want to go out to the country, get away from all the noise of the city, right? They want to get out to where it's quiet. Well, there's no such thing as pure silence. That doesn't exist. What you're experiencing when you get out into the woods, get out into the rural areas, getting away from civilization, is that you're hearing the underlying sounds of existence. You're hearing what life sounds like normally, without all the noise, without all the hubbub, without all the static that's in there. And so it's definitely a very real thing. And so whether it's the rhythm of a drum that mimics a heartbeat, or whether it's the sound of crackling fire, the wind, especially the water flowing, is always just a wonderful sound. These are things that heal you. They bring you serenity. They relieve you of stress. And stress is one of the things that kills us more than anything else. Yep. It's definitely the number one killer that is not actually a physical object. It's not fat or cholesterol, or, you know, it's not sugar. It's just an idea. But stress kills more people than pretty much anything else, you know, when it comes to intangibles. So it's very healing, very much. And so I encourage people to go out and explore what they have around them that can help them heal naturally, heal through the sounds that nature provides us.
So I'm wondering if, and sounds are a great healing source. It's why we have a healing drum and healing bowls. I'm wondering if those of us who have experienced those wonderful sensations in nature and begin to heal ourselves, maybe others have a bad experience and they get like caught underneath a kettle drum with somebody beating on it or something. And maybe now they're holding high office in this country. I don't know. Maybe it's...
Or they had a big brother who used to take a pan and beat it with a spoon over their head.
And you know, if the pan is rusty at all, they could end up with orange hair.
That's true.
That was just a thought.
That's just a thought. So Sue tells us that Asheville, North Carolina has drumming in the middle of town every Friday night. And the energy soars. Usually 30 plus drummers that just go with the flow. It's amazing. So Asheville, North Carolina is a great city. Yeah, reminds me a lot of Gainesville. It's a college town. Ann Arbor is another city like that.
Fort Collins.
Fort Collins is another city like that. Exactly. Berkeley, California is a city like that.
San Francisco,
San Francisco is sort of a little bit of everything thrown into one, isn't it?
True.
But it's one of those college towns, and you know, I've got a buddy who actually lives up there, and he's a musician. And that does not surprise me. And actually, so over in Pasco County, to the west of us, there is a place called Gildogs, where it's right on the on Miller's Bayou, and they have drum circles, I think, every Wednesday night or something. If Greg Smithwick or Corey Cottrell is out there listening right now, and you can correct me here, but we've got some that go on around here too. I think Gainesville has one that happens pretty frequently. I'm gonna have to look into that to see, maybe keep track of those a little better, because I know that they're happening here in Florida, Miami they happen, Tampa they happen, but we should probably keep a better track of those things.
Okay, so for non-Floridians, let's get the definition of this right out there now. What is the difference between a swamp and a marsh and a bayou?
Okay, so I think it's best put as, all right. So a swamp. Again, you actually kind of put it in order, which is nice. A swamp is a
dumb luck. Believe me.
Right. Really, swamps and marshes are mostly synonymous, except for a marsh usually connects to a larger body of water somehow, whereas a swamp is basically contained within itself. So it's just one swamp. Whereas a marshland will typically be on the edge of a lake or the edge of an estuary. So a bayou, getting to estuary, is basically a part of an estuary. A bayou, like what we see in Louisiana, where bayous are a common description of the geology, that's just basically a waterlogged, water inundated area where water is flowing in a direction, or it's usually they're tidal. So, for instance, Miller's Bayou, I was just talking about over in Pasco County, that is adjacent to the Gulf of Mexico. So I led a paddle down the Pithwakuchee River last November. Man, it's been that long. I led a group. It was one of my earlier projects, and we paddled down the river out to Gildogs, the place I was talking about. And so we went down what was they call it Blackwater Creek. And a Blackwater Creek is one that starts from a swamp, as opposed to a spring-fed creek or spring-fed stream, river. And we paddled all the way down, took us a few hours, and we felt the tides, we saw a lot of great things. But when we got to the bayou, so the bayou was basically sort of like I said, it's tidal. Parts of it are really shallow and low tide, parts of it are really deep. All three of these, though, while they have their own specific definitions, their own specific qualities and characteristics, they all serve an extremely important part of our ecosystem. And that is that they are a part of the cleaning, the recharging areas of our waters. So the marshes and swamps, this is where water is usually reclaimed by Mother Nature and then goes through processes where organic matter is decayed and it percolates through the soils and back into the aquifer. Or if it's a confined area, it will percolate into the soils and then flow into an area where it's collected and it becomes clean groundwater. So that's the too long, did not read explanation. But in a quick summary, marshes and swamps, basically the same thing, except for a swamp is more or less contained, the marsh is adjacent to another body of water, and a bayou is a tidal area between an ocean and a water source of sorts.
That's good, thank you.
So nerd facts for everybody.
It's important to know a little bit about, and I don't know that. I didn't know the difference between that. I was trying to. Anyway, now I know. That's great.
Oh, I love adding this stuff, but I gotta nerd myself. I gotta call myself out.
Okay. And so someone asked, what about healing with drums in the water? That's some of the programs and things that Sue and I lead. And actually, we'll be doing a couple of them here in Florida in a couple weeks down by, how do you say it,
Estero.
Estero.
Estero is near Fort Myers, Naples.
Okay. So we'll be doing a couple down there. And that's exactly what we do. We use drums and then bowls to help people clear out and get rid of the stress that we're talking about that's such a killer, connect with their spirit and with the earth, and then using the bowls to help energize your own healing energy within. And there's a lot of people that do this. We offer this whenever we travel, and we do a lot of them when we are at our kind of home base in Colorado. So yeah, I mean, I think if you see anything like that and you want to try it, I would strongly suggest you do. And then scientifically, it's been proven that it has great healing potential. Sound by itself,
yes,
but particularly drums and bowls have been
Yep.
Both been checked out as having high potentials for healing.
So I've got a couple questions here I want to answer. Now we're on the science tip. By the way, water protectors should never be dehydrated.
That's right.
So make sure you drink. All right,
For
so
those of you old enough, this is like Ask Mr. Wizard.
Mr. Wizard was like my hero.
Okay.
Even though he was kind of cantankerous. There's some YouTube videos of him clowning on the kids.
Yep.
And if you want a moment to laugh, you can look those up. So I've got a question here. Christine McAnally. Can aquifers be man-made and used to filter? Well, okay, so the aquifer itself is a natural... all right, let me tell you what the aquifer is. The aquifer is a porous layer of limestone and the pores can either be tiny, or big cave caverns that exist underneath our state. So it's a, for lack of a better way of putting it, a God-given infrastructure that we have. And so the nature of this limestone, because it's porous, because it's easily dissolved, water flows through it very easily. What actually cleans the water is the soils above the limestone. So when you ask if you ask about can they be made to man-made and be used to filter, so the aquifer itself obviously cannot be man-made based on what I just said, but building wetlands for filtration is actually something that you see nowadays in urban planning. In fact, right around the corner from where I live, there's a preserved wetland, because where the area in Ocoee that I live in was once all swamp. Then it was turned into orange groves, and now it's residential. But we have an area that nobody is allowed in. They can't cut foliage in there, and you can't walk in there. You can't do anything in there. I've wanted to get a drone and get some footage of it at some point. Maybe I will. So that is so. As far as what man can do, man can put wetlands in urban areas, suburban areas, and help mitigate the impact of human activity. Now, the key word there is mitigate. It may not truly negate the human activity, but it's still something that we do. So there are some very intelligent environmental and civil engineers out there working on ideas and concepts like that. So that's a good question, even though the aquifer wasn't really what we were looking for. We're looking for more wetlands and marshes, estuaries, things like that.
Yeah, it's not a one-to-one relationship. When they do these creative wetlands, and I used to do a lot of this back in Colorado years ago, you have to do 2 or 3 times the amount of acreage reclaimed or created to replace what you've destroyed in natural wetlands. But it sure helps. I mean, there's even parking lots now designed so that they're porous, so that water goes through and doesn't just flood off the sides.
Those are awesome.
Yeah, they're really great. And back into the aquifer. Aquifers everywhere are lowering dramatically, dangerously in some places. And that's another whole issue with water.
Yep.
We keep building golf courses, on and on and on. That's not wise. We are dramatically depleting the aquifers. We met with a couple from Texas on our way here from Austin, right?
No, Corpus Christi.
Corpus Christi, Texas. And wow, their aquifer is going down each year. We have the same problem in Colorado.
Yep.
If they get too low, it's going to be hard to take a drink.
Well, they're going to get saltwater intrusion
That's
eventually.
what they're going to get.
And if I had a better setup here, I would go. Actually, one of these days I'll sit down and do a little tutorial on all of that. But that's basically, the aquifer gets so low that underneath every aquifer there's usually salt water, because there's no steel door that keeps the salt water out from under the rest of the continent. There's an intermingling in there. So with that said, Sue Almeter asks, all rivers flow to the ocean, don't they? And they actually don't. Interestingly enough. Actually, I had a couple of examples in my head. A great example is the Kissimmee River here in Florida. Flows from Lake Toho into Lake Okeechobee, and then ends there. Now, granted, Lake Okeechobee has 2 rivers. One river naturally flowing out of it that goes to the east, the St. Lucie River. And then the river to the west, the Caloosahatchee, was actually canaled in order to dump out. So, no, not all rivers terminate in the ocean. A lot of them will terminate into lakes. And even there are, in Florida and other places where there are springs, there's what's called swallets, where a river or a creek or a spring run can actually go right back into the earth, back into the aquifer. And those are always interesting. So, rivers flow as they must. They follow the path that the earth has given them. And whether it's the ocean, or whether it's a lake, whether it's a swallet, whatever it may be, and sometimes they may just sort of disperse into a wetland. What it is what it is. It's still a sacred water. So, Sue says also, once water is altered, it cannot be brought back to its original form. So, on a fundamental level, that is, so when you say altered, yeah, I mean, what I'm interpreting that to be is that it has been polluted. It has been, right. So, I mean, you can't really alter water unless you're talking about adding heavy hydrogen to it, or deuterium, which is, if you altered it that way, that would change a lot of the ways that we're able to analyze water and see how old it is, where it comes from. So you can't alter the physical aspects of water easily. You can, but you can't do that. But the way I'm interpreting what you're saying is that once you add something that wasn't there before, it's really hard or nearly impossible to undo. And when it comes to groundwater, that's absolutely correct. Anything that's put into the aquifer, we have no way of getting into the aquifer and running it through a Brita filter. Or, we have no way of doing those type of things. With surface water, there's more that you can do, but it's really hard to return waters to their original source or their original form. And a great example is when I took them to Lake Apopka at the end of our day the other day. Yeah. I showed them a lake that had been polluted for decades. I mean, almost a full century of farming. And we just, a decade and a half ago or so, started to try to clean it up. But it was still nasty, it still smelled, it was still turbid, you couldn't see anything in it. And like I told them, I told people in that video that it's going to take 50, 60, 70 years if that ever gets back to where it was before. So I think it's safe to say that we should just not mess the water up, because there's no guarantee we can get it back to its form. And by no guarantee, I say pretty much it's not going to happen. So that is my answer to that. All right, so I think that covers some of the more recent questions here.
A lot of you guys hanging around the campfire with us.
Yeah, I appreciate it. So let's see. Well, we're coming up on 2 hours here.
2 hours.
Oh. It's a good thing we're all windbags.
I know, right?
Yeah.
We got a nice fire here too. We got a lot going for us.
Yep. It's getting a little chilly here, folks.
I had to go get the old sweatshirt.
Yeah, so did Sue.
It's gonna be a beautiful night for sleeping.
Yeah.
So I don't know what time the eclipse was supposed to be, but the moon is extraordinarily bright at the moment. And I may even
Can we shoot?
I want to see if I can show the
Let's
audience.
see if we can put the moon on for you all. I know you can look at your own moon out your window, but...
Did I just lose some?
Yeah, you did.
That's fine. That's not a big deal.
Isn't that the camera?
All right, so that's our moon.
That's our moon, and you can have it.
It's the same moon everybody's looking at.
Your moon, too.
It's everybody's moon.
But I say, all my relations, that's the same moon.
That's it. Just like the American Tail song, somewhere out there.
Yeah.
We may be looking at the same moon. All right. So I don't know about that comet either, but I'm sure if you're out there and you're interested in it, you probably got to see it while we were blabbering.
This would be a really, really good... We'll go back to spiritual for a minute, folks.
Let's do that.
This is a great night when you go to bed. Try to get back in that state where Sue put us with the flute. Maybe she'll do another drum and song before we leave. But try to get back into that state and just get into your heart, because spiritually this is going to be one heck of an active night with a full moon and a meteor and what else?
Eclipse.
And an eclipse, yeah.
Nobody may be sleeping tonight.
No. A lot of energy could be flying around. Maybe that's why we're doing such a long show tonight. We didn't even realize it. But just really let that happen and just see what comes to you. I lead a lot of people in learning journeying and other shamanic practices. See what comes to you tonight. See what the ancestors bring to you. See what your own heart brings to you, whatever. But really try to get into that place, I suggest, before you lay down. Otherwise, you may just be laying there tonight, rigid as a board, because of all this energy.
Yeah.
That's right. Remember that one?
So yeah, the energy level is astounding. I agree, and
Yeah,
I'm
it
really
is.
excited about tomorrow as well. That there's going to be some great energy going into.
I keep looking there, and you sit down. You know, like 30 seconds after you
Yeah,
sit down. It's
a-
very confusing.
I think it's a 15-second,
Okay.
15-second delay here. It is. It sort of it throws me off too.
I'm really feeling the energy from all of you out there too, and I'm not kidding. I mean, it's just I can feel it through my whole body. I have from shortly after we began. So that's that energy of the circle. We are a circle. Circle is everything right now. We've got to do everything in circle. And tonight we're just sharing some beautiful energy. It's really good to feel.
Absolutely. Do we want to do a song here?
Do we?
Do we?
So we all look at Sue and say, "Do we want to do a song?"
She is the music leader here.
She's the
Music leader?
she's the songstress for tonight.
Give me a beat and I will
There
provide.
you go.
Be at one with your spirit as you walk here on this earth. Know that love that surrounds you was there for you at your birth. Every day is a blessing, sacred journey as you walk. Take the time that is needed to be one with who you are. Mother Earth really needs us to be whole and honor her, for she needs that love around her to be fruitful and give birth. So be loving to yourself, so your love can shine throughout. Being all that you can be will bring that love to all around.
Will you show the audience the skin of your drum so we can all see? I want to make sure that everybody sees. Now, are those paw prints? Genuine paw prints on there?
They would be the paw print of the wolf.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
as far as genuine.
Some of our drums, we have drums from a lot of different places, as I've said. Some like this came from Tahoe's Drum Factory. So these are Native American made drums. And there's an artist who did some of our drums. The Wolf, I have an eagle drum. There's a couple of others.
Bear,
A bear.
shaman,
There's really, the shaman, the
shapeshifter.
shapeshifter.
Yeah.
These are really beautiful drums, I think. The artist did great work. We had them for a number of years until a friend of ours, Native American friend, saw them and looked at, wow, they look familiar, and looked at the signature on the drums, which they've worn off by now, and it was his cousin. So just another, another example of circle. You never know who's doing what. But here it was his cousin that had painted all these drums. She no longer paints drums. I'm sorry, folks.
We went out of focus there for some reason. I'm not sure what happened.
That's
There we go.
probably
That's
me.
better.
If you don't have instruments, and you do not have to be great with instruments, I love playing the drum. And I already told you, have very little musical ability. I really suggest if there's something you want to acquire a drum, or acquire a bowl, or a flute. Don't worry how you sound. It's not about being, you're not going to go to Carnegie Hall. Bad news for you people. If you thought you would, you probably won't. A few of you maybe are. So it doesn't really matter what you sound like, but the energy and the healing that you can get from that are just amazing.
Absolutely. And even without a drum, you can always create a beat.
Yep.
You can tap your foot, you can
Yep.
snap your fingers, you can pat your hands. I mean, it's music, the rhythm, music, all that is within us. It's just a matter of channeling it out of yourself. And even if you feel like you're, some, dude or some woman who just doesn't have the feel, that doesn't have the rhythm, that's not really true.
Right.
It's just that you haven't found yours.
That's correct.
And so you just need to find yours, and whatever you can do to do that, we encourage you to. And that is, that's a lot of that is just simply just kind of sitting back in a situation, a context, an environment where you feel comfortable, where you feel safe, where you feel yourself, and you think about rhythm, you think about spirit, you think about the things that matter to you, and it will come to you. It'll either come to you in your head as a sound, or you may hear your own heartbeat, or you may just feel something that gives you a purpose, gives you a reason to make a noise or make a sound. It may be with your voice, maybe patting something, maybe tapping something, but it's there, and we all have it. And the reason why I know we all have it is because if you watch a newborn child, if you watch a young child, they're always experimenting with sounds, what they can do with their voices, with how they can do things. So it's inherent upon us.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so just because you didn't find it doesn't mean it's not there. It is there. It's just a matter of going through the motions and finding yourself. Because it's a self thing. It's an interior thing.
And if you can't afford a drum right now, try to get someone to buy you one. Tell them it's your birthday. But if you can't, use the first drum. My Mayan family told me the first drum, a hollow log and a stick.
Christine here says beans inside a paper tube.
There you go.
That sounds like a quick maraca.
That's a rain stick.
A rain stick or a maraca.
Yeah. A maraca. Yeah.
So, and Charlene asked us, you guys enjoying the full moon? And we really are. It's actually now, it has gone from about 20 degrees to now it's a good 180. So it's about 140 degrees up now. So yeah, we're loving this moon right now. It's great. It is great. It's been a wonderful night out here with everybody and with each other.
Definitely.
It has. I'm getting tired. I'm getting cold.
So we'll go ahead and conclude our little bit here, won't we?
I think so. I
All
mean,
right,
we can keep going if you guys would.
Well, I may leave the stream going just for a bit,
Okay.
if you all want to get up, but because I'm not limited by anything right now.
No.
And I may focus it on the campfire for a little while if you all want to look at the campfire, and then if I come up with anything to come back and yap about, I will. And Lord knows, I probably do. But yeah, so.
It says, hey, Shelley Darling's here.
Oh, Shelley's with us.
Yeah, she just got back from her water blessing with Myra Lash. You can stay with her. Oh, okay. Connected to the Tampa community. Anyway, that's, I guess, a personal message to Sue and I. We have people who are going to help us with places to stay, so we can manage to stay here a little longer and continue to do the work. And, whoops. So also in that group is Elizabeth Rogers, who's created an amazing website for the water group that Shelley is also part of. When we stand for the water, we're standing for the viable future of our children's, grandchildren's, great-grandchildren's. Elizabeth, 7 generations. I give you that. Start using 7 generations. I love you. We are their future right now, today, and they are the ones we're waiting for. We cannot, will not quit. Yeah, I mean, that's exactly the way. And you're right, Elizabeth, but even bring it more current right now. We have to worry about our own lives. Those who are alive here now are at extreme risk. and I don't mean that lightly, and I don't mean it to scare people, but we are really, really at risk. So some of us, like Sue and I, we have grandkids here already, and we do worry about them. But I can't worry about them if I'm dying. So, you know, it's like on a plane. What do they tell you if something goes wrong with a plane?
You put the air over the children first.
No, put it over
Oh, yourself first. Yeah, right.
Adam's never been in a plane scenario. Put the air on yourself first, and then you can help others.
Yeah.
We can't help others before we help ourselves.
You're exactly right. And I don't know why it came to my mind that way, but I think why I conflated that with women and children first off the boat.
Yeah.
Okay,
Right? I think that's why I conflated
it.
But it definitely is put it on yourself. Make sure that you're capable of helping other people.
Yeah.
And really, I mean, now we all know that it never actually said in the Bible God helps those who help themselves, but it is an idiom that does have that carries a lot of weight.
Yeah.
And that is, you know, I mean, you can't help other people until you help yourself. And I don't mean this as an excuse to be selfish. I talk about this a lot, but when I talk about the concentric circles, when it comes to helping others and then being involved, you get connected with yourself. The next circle are your loved ones. The next circle are your friends and acquaintances. The next circle is your colleagues. Then the next circle are the people you just happen to touch in your everyday life. And then the next circle are the people that you touch that touch other people that kind of percolates through. Yeah. And so it's all about how you manage those
the
concentric
people you
circles.
touched, you didn't even know you touched.
Exactly. So that is the way to look at it. So you can't really send a positive message until you have your own positive message. That's the way we want you to think about it.
You
Ripples. Christine says ripples, and that's it.
Yeah.
Like throwing a stone in the brook.
You can't sit back and wait. And I say this with all respect, and I've said it a lot over the years. You can't sit back and just say prayers and wait for God to come and save you. It doesn't work that way. No culture I've ever worked with, as I've learned their spiritual ways, have thought it works that way. We got to do those things. We have to be active. We have to do our part. And then our God, or whatever we feel that connection is, will be there to help us. But I don't think anything in the universe likes something that just sits there inactive, waiting for the big day, which never comes.
Well, anything that's inactive in the universe doesn't actually exist. Everything down to a quantum state has action, has energy. Once energy is not involved, then it's no longer part of the universe.
It's a circle of life.
It is. Circle of life, circle of existence.
Yep.
It's just the universe operates on those principles. All right, so I got Margie here. Sometimes I help others to get out of my own dark thoughts. You know, that is not a not a unique thing.
No.
I can tell you that I do that.
Yep.
You know, and that's a pretty healthy way of handling. You know, negativity.
Some of the songs I've written pretty much for myself sometimes, I think, because
and then we
but
share.
they're there to help others too, because, you know, everything we write.
And there's something about taking the pain and taking the things that you're experiencing and using it so that other people don't have to.
Yeah.
You know, and for us, right, we have to deal with dirty water.
Yeah.
We're dealing with the pains of dirty water, and we're trying to prevent other people from dealing with that. So it's not that different, and it's I feel like that's a really healthy way of dealing with negativity in your life. You know, kill them with kindness, or you know, like when negativity comes, respond with just as much positivity, if not more.
Absolutely.
And so I think you know that is exactly the right thing to do.
And we have a great model for that right in the recent past up at Standing Rock. They all stood there in peace and harmony and did not get into the anger and the rage of the other side. That is definitely the way to deal with it. That's how we have to deal with it now.
Sure is.
Because that dirty water remember that water is our blood. That's the blood of the Earth Mother. We have our blood. If we let that water stay dirty, our water stays dirty. It's just the two are intimately connected.
That's exactly right. Exactly right. Hey, well, we got somebody just now tuning in. Unfortunately, we're kind of on our way out, but I'm not going to kill the feed yet. What I'm going to do though, I'm going to just do a little campfire feed here for a little bit.
Okay.
And then I may come back and talk a little bit, but I think
I'm ready.
Yeah, I think they're
Sue's
done
going.
here, and
I'm gonna stay a little longer.
you know, it's been a long evening,
Yeah.
and you know,
2 hours
we're
of kayaking.
2.25 hours now, and I really want to thank everybody who has either been here or has been watching the whole time. Good Lord, if you've been watching the whole time, I've got a special place in my heart for you. But for everybody who's been out there with us so far, thank you very much. And I hope that what I hope from these talks that we have is that we are giving you the tools that you need to go out
Yes.
and spread the message the way that we're trying to. And that message of peace, that message of love, the importance of clean water, but also the importance of community, the importance of connecting with each other, the importance of dialogue, the importance of the concentric circles I was talking about, and expanding your personal universe, expanding the people that you reach. These are all critical parts, not just of the Water is Life movement, but truly of your existence as a human being. These are fundamental aspects of humanity that we're talking about, and we're not Nobel scientists here coming up with the newest thing. These are ideas that are thousands of years old, that we are just following. We're standing on the shoulders of giants, and just trying to send those messages that those giants before us have. So,
Yep.
I'm going to.
Good night, everyone.
I'm going to let
Good night.
Sue excuse herself now, and what I'm going to do is we're going to take a little intermission here at very least, and we'll regroup and figure out. I will definitely come back and address the group one more time, but what I'm going to do in the meantime is I'm going to focus the camera on the campfire to give a little serenity, and we'll see where we go from there. All right, folks?
We can do some guided journeying if we want.
Yes, absolutely.
And I see that Christina in there said she was going to check back in maybe with some poetry. If you all want to bring back some poetry or thoughts or something, yeah, feel free. We'll read them.
I'm actually pretty good at reciting poetry, so
Okay.
I'd be more than happy to do that. Now, we're limited in the comments of how to do that. So if you want to send a private message to one of us, either Jim or I, that way we can get the entire text, all the stanzas, and we'll be able to read it in its entirety. So if that's something you want to do, then by all means. Linda, good night. Sue, our water is reaching a crisis point, and we are here.
Sue?
Francis, you're in Wales,
Bring
3
the dogs
a.m.
out one last
If you don't
time.
want to hang around anymore, I understand, but we will have the fire here for you.
Okay.
Margie, thank you for coming from Savannah. Okay, so this is Adam Dubbin and Jim Graywolf Petruzzi, along with Sue Graywolf Petruzzi, and temporarily
And Graham on the
signing out.
moon.
Yes, the man on the moon, the grandma moon, all the moons.
All the moons.
We're going to check out here for a bit. Stay tuned for the fire, and I'll be back in, give me 15, 20 minutes. All right, folks? Take care.